Reasons why that creepy voice gets me every time. One of the reasons why I started this Women Who Wow group is that I feel like the programming that's out there for us just doesn't hit the mark, and we need something a little different, a little it really, just hits a lot of different topics. And so this is one that I've been really wanting to talk about. And I brought some show and tell that I want to talk about before we get into everything, Melanie. And I of some of the things that I've been loving during the pandemic. So today we're going to be talking about how to dress for coming out of pandemic life, because I brought this up. And by the way, you know how I found Melanie is through LinkedIn, which is why I love LinkedIn. And I saw her posts and they're so different than anybody else's posts. And we really need someone like Melanie in our life to tell us about how we should be dressing and feeling. And I have gained weight. I don't know how many of you have gained weight. Melanie, have you gained weight during the pandemic?
Yes. And like, yes and no. Like, I feel like I've had this, but this is, I mean, obviously I talk about weight with women constantly.
Yeah.
And I've had clients that have gained weight and I have clients that have lost weight, and stuff comes up with both. Like, it's not like
I'm sure. Yeah. So like I got a Peloton during the pandemic. I had to wait like, the 2 months to get it. I still gained weight. My body's changed. I'm also over 40. A lot of us, our bodies have changed no matter what we do. We're not going to be, stick skinny anymore. I'm okay with that. I embrace my new body, but dressing is different. Also, I'm working from home now. It can be professional. I don't know if you guys saw when I ran up my stairs in my apartment, I'm a little, casual on the bottom, a little more professional on the top. Everything's changed. I had to go to a business meeting, Melanie, and I had to grab like work pants. It was for the first time in like a year and a half. So I went to my storage unit because all my business clothes are there. All my Ann Taylor and Ann Taylor loft suits and separates and all that stuff, they didn't fit anymore. And they're not quite in style. By the way, did you guys notice that there are no Ann Taylor loft stores left in Manhattan anymore? I don't know where all of you are coming from, but there used to be one on every street corner where you could get fast work clothes. They're not there anymore because everybody's needs have changed, right? So the world has changed just like we have. I was wearing stretchy pants and I don't wear underwire bras anymore. Has anyone, oh yeah, so Mimi, you're saying no Talbots. Yeah. Is anyone else not wearing underwire bras anymore? Anyone give me like a shout out? Because if you guys aren't, I have a solution for you. There are two. I just want to show and tell. And I hope you guys will put your recommendations because we've been doing this. There's two that I love. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Sabrina. No more underwire. So if you have boobs like I do, this is from Target. It's $14.99. It's from the Auden brand. It's amazing. And Victoria's Secret no underwire bra is amazing. That's what I'm wearing right now. Those two are unbelievable and they look great. And why do we have to suffer anymore? I don't want to wear underwire anymore. So this is my pandemic amazing secret find. I hope you're going to show us some others. The other one, Target leggings. This is what I lived in the whole pandemic. The Colsey brand, $19.99. Then I have to tell you, caftans. How do you feel about caftans? Do you like them? Melanie?
I feel like sometimes those are hiding things. Those are the things that I find in clients' closets that they're hiding in.
Well, yes, except Zara is amazing this season. I love Zara and I've been doing, so I got this one that has a belt and it's not hiding anything and it's really cute. So that's what I've been doing. And stretchy jeans from Spanx. Spanx cargo pants, also amazing. So those are the things. If you guys have suggestions in here, oh, we've got a couple other people who like the Target leggings. The only thing, guys, is that they're a little see-through sometimes. Lululemon leggings, obviously amazing, but very expensive. And sometimes I feel like they suck in too much and they hurt at the end of the day. I don't like compression all the time. But guys, put your suggestions for things that you love that you found during the pandemic. So I want this to be like an open discussion after Melanie talks to us and things you love. And I'm gonna share my screen and then I'm gonna let you share your screen. I just have a couple slides here. this is what we are, and everyone can see your chat, and I will share the chat with everyone who is on the presentation today. But this is what we're talking about. I love this picture of you, Melanie. It's great.
Thank you.
This is me in front of my favorite store. So TJ Maxx, to me, I'm curious, Melanie, what you think of TJ Maxx. I think it's where you can find amazing things, especially in New York City. I always find great things there. And I've been told, my neighbor works there, if you go during the week, you will get better things. And they constantly are putting out shipments. So most of my really good finds, including a Gucci bag that I got there 2 weeks ago. That's a velvet Gucci bag. That I got for like half price, is from TJ Maxx. So what do you think of TJ Maxx, Melanie?
I love TJ Maxx. I was raised going to Loehmann's and Filing's Basement, all of those things. I just feel that it kind of goes against a lot of the methods that I teach,
Okay.
in the sense of being more strategic with your wardrobe and only really going shopping a few times a year and have a system. I find that sometimes when we go to a store like that, we just buy one-off things. And my goal is to help my clients create outfits so they don't have some random stuff hanging in their closet. They have things that are more purposeful. And sometimes when we go into a store like that, we get a little like overwhelmed and buy just something that catches our eye as opposed to something that we need.
Okay,
So
you're gonna
some of the methodology I teach, but I love me a bargain. I just feel like if you're going into that store, you need very strict rules with yourself. So
okay,
you're not just buying a bunch of stuff.
I want you to teach us those rules, because I need those rules, because I can't say no to a TJ Maxx, and I cried when Loehmann's closed. So Melanie, tell us about your background.
Sure,
How'd
absolutely.
you get into this field?
So I grew up, my family owned an accessory store. So I was like the little girl in the playpen. I grew up just in retail, in stores. And one of the things that I realized when I was about like 10 years old, pretty quickly, is that when a woman felt confident, her aura changed. Like when she like felt good about how she was presenting herself, she was excited to go places, as opposed to the opposite. Like, ugh, hate my clothes. I don't feel so great. I don't want to go there. So I quickly realized that like confidence was key when it came to showing up, being present, and also drawing people towards us. So I was the girl that was obsessed with fashion. Most of my clients say, oh, that's not my thing. I don't like shopping. I don't like any of those things. That's completely me. I went to FIT. I worked corporately for about 12 years in the fine jewelry industry. And while I was 100% obsessed with fashion, I became really intimidated and overwhelmed by it because I'm 5 feet tall, never been a size 2 ever in my life. And I kind of went on that hamster wheel that we were talking about with TJ Maxx of I always needed new stuff. I always needed new stuff. I always needed new stuff. And it wasn't until I brought this strategy and developed my style that it became so simple and easy, as opposed to this thing that completely overwhelmed me. So when I had my son and I stopped working in a job that kept me all over the world constantly, I went back to FIT and got a degree in image consultation and color consultation. And one of the things that came from my background is the president of my company, before becoming a CEO of a jewelry company, was a corporate attorney. So everything that kind of came to me was much more strategic. So my approach to style is more about strategy, having a sense of purpose, and having it be more of a means to an end, as opposed to like, this is cute, this is pretty. So a lot of my background really comes from strategy, making our style count, getting noticed, helping women really have a presence and really help them step into their next level. And interestingly enough, I found out that one of my first clients actually knows you, Stefanie. This came out on Instagram yesterday, Ginny.
Oh, Ginny Markovich?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I went to college with her husband and actually Ginny. So that's hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a small world.
Yep.
Wow. I love the world of Instagram.
Isn't that so funny?
You never know. So the world is very small. So.
It is very, very small.
I
Yeah,
love
so one
that.
of the things that I just find the majority of my clients are female attorneys or female business owners, and really just help simplify getting dressed. There's a lot of women out there that stand in front of their closet and they're like, I got a whole lot of stuff and I don't have anything to actually put on my body. Like, so
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
me.
it's like it really has to do with creating a system, creating a strategy, and learning what to do with your clothes as opposed to having a whole bunch of stuff. So, and that's what we're going to chat about today.
Okay, that's awesome. So you can share your screen. There's a request also for you to talk a little bit about maybe some places where folks can find some plus size clothing that you like also. So if you could cover that. And I personally keep buying the same thing over and over again. I don't know if people do that, but
Yep.
I do that. And I always feel like I never have enough to wear, even though I have a lot of clothes. So I hope that you'll help with that. Or I wear the same things over and over again, which
Mhm.
is like a sickness that I have. So I would like to know that. I also have 3 different sizes. I don't know if anyone else has that problem. And you can share your screen whenever you want. I enabled the screen sharing. So I have like really skinny Stephanie, average Stephanie, and then fat Stephanie, which is not really, I shouldn't say that, but you guys know what I mean. And I don't know if anyone else has that sort of mentality. It's just, you know, so that's difficult because sometimes I'll really like something and then I'll buy it in 3 different sizes because I want to make sure that I can wear it. And so, like, I have my really skinny jean size, my okay jean size, and then my, like, PMSy jean size.
Mhm.
So maybe we could talk about that. And then my significant others are, that I've had, have always been like, why do you have so many clothes? And well, that's why, and I hope that explains it.
Yeah, so one of the things that's super important for everyone to realize is that while our weight may determine the size of our clothes, or the number on the scale may determine the size of our clothes, it doesn't determine our style. And our style, we really need to change the mentality of it. Our style is a form of communication. Our style is the messaging that we're sending to the universe, who we are, what we care about, helps us take up more space. So I want us to start thinking about clothes as a form of nonverbal communication, because when we start thinking about it that way, it's much easier. We're kind of taking some pressure off, like the pressure of the weight fluctuation doesn't become a thing. I've heard from so many women, especially over the past few months, that they feel that they shouldn't be investing in themselves because they're not happy with their weight, or they've lost some weight and they're afraid to invest in themselves because they're going to gain the weight back. So it's just like this never ending roller coaster of us not investing in ourselves, not learning about ourselves when it comes to style, when it comes to that messaging, because we're afraid that like the other shoe's going to drop, or we're just not happy with ourselves. And what happens is that we're not showing up. Like we're kind of like we're living in this like if when chicken and egg situation. So I it's so important for us to get clarity on our style, get clarity on what looks good on us, get clarity on what feels good on us, because that has nothing to do with our size. Like, and actually, when we feel good in our clothes, it's cyclical. Like, we start making better decisions, we get on the Peloton a little bit more, like, all of that stuff works hands in hand. But also, what happens is that it becomes more about that you wanting to show up and you wanting to have an impact and be present, as opposed to, I'll just buy some stuff because I need to like wear clothes. And I know this better than anyone because I did this. Like I coach women on this. I've coached them, I've been an image consultant for over 8 years. So I've seen all the things, I've heard all of the stories, but I used to do that myself. So what I used to do is I used to buy clothes that were a size or two bigger, especially jeans, because I felt it made me look thinner. So I would hide in my clothes, or I go like to this like mentality of like hoarding and purging, where if I lost weight, I went and bought all this really expensive stuff because I like deserved it. And then when I gained weight, I would like go to like buy some like stuff that I really didn't like so much because I didn't deserve it. So we need to change that. And the way to change it is, by the way, just having some clarity. Like, it's not like I'm saying, okay, we're going to sit here and you're going to learn how to dress for your body type and you're going to learn what your style is and you need to go spend thousands of dollars. It's like, no, you just need to learn what you like, the messages that you want to send, and what looks good on you. And then you could start building and working towards us. working towards it. And when you dress in a way that flatters you, as opposed to either a way of hiding or a bunch of just throwing some random stuff on, you get away with a lot more. So you may not need to have a few different sizes in tops or a few different sizes in pants because it flatters you. Because like, think about it. Like if your jeans are like, they're kind of just fit you right perfectly and they're not the greatest on you and you gain a few pounds, they don't look great on you. But this is more about kind of creating this whole entire clothes that work well for you over time. So.
Yeah, I think you know, I think a lot of us have an unhealthy relationship with our weight, and it affects the way we dress and all that stuff. So
and the way that we show up, like think about it. Like if you don't want to do an Instagram live, you don't want to do this when you're feeling crappy about yourself. Or you don't want to go and make a presentation. But the good thing is that if we are excited about our clothes and we have things that we like and we know look good on us, it actually can empower us to go do the hard things, especially if we make it easy. So if you're like, these are the 4 things that I enjoy wearing, and then I'm going to wear in Instagram stories, no one's going to remember that you wore it 3 weeks ago. Like, let's be real. Everyone has other things going on in their lives. We're only the whole center of our universe. So having these little tricks in your closet to go to when you're not feeling so great, like even like on Zoom calls, like I would say to my client, like have a Zoom pair of earrings, have a Zoom necklace, like you have to turn your camera on, throw them on, so it makes you feel better about doing it, as opposed to like not putting your camera on. We need to kind of use the clothing to amplify us, as opposed to like the reason why we're not doing so much stuff. And that's what I find what ends up happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we already chatted about me. We really, again, need to think of clothing as a conversation with ourselves, especially when our days are like kind of odd. Like we are starting to go back to in person, but like we don't have those strict schedules. So we want to make sure that we're using our clothes to feel good as opposed to hide. The other thing also that we just need to realize is that it takes 7 seconds. Now it's even like, Stefanie, you probably know this better than anyone. Like it's less than 7 seconds now. Like what's the scroll? 5 seconds? Like we need to present ourselves and make someone stop scrolling really quickly. So if we're not showing up and taking ourselves seriously, no one else is going to either. So we need to start with, thinking about clothing, largest form of nonverbal communication. How are we sending those messages out there? But when we get stuck in that mindset that we're going to wait to define our style, or we're going to wait to find clothes, this is what ends up happening. We're wasting so much time and so much mental energy. So we were chatting about having a lot of clothes in our closet. On average, women spend 6,668 hours in their closet. Like that's a lot of freaking time.
My God.
So think about it. It's like 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes on a day, and it's 40 minutes on a weekend, or when you're like going on a trip. Like that's a lot of time to be standing there. And if you just do a little bit of work up front and being like, these are outfits that I can wear. Yes, it may take an hour, but you get to save all of that time.
That might have been the scariest figure that I've heard.
Considering that a lot of people on this call charge by the hour. So
wow.
But that's why when sometimes I'll have people that are like, oh, I don't have an hour a week to devote to you to figure this out. I'm like, okay, so do me a favor. Let's note each day, how many times have you put a shirt on and off each morning? And then we'll add that together. And then you probably have an hour to figure it out and like have a plan, so you don't have to waste that time. The other thing also is that we're not having impact. Like when we're not feeling great, we're not showing up fully. So we're not able to show up for a community, show up for our families. Like I've heard from so many clients, like, I didn't go out to dinner with my husband last night because I didn't know what to wear and it was taking too long. And I was like, you know what, let's just order it. Or I didn't want to go to the kids' baseball game because I'm like, ugh, I don't want to, I don't feel good about myself. Or I didn't go and put my camera on to potentially connect with someone because I didn't feel great about how I looked. So we are, wasting a lot of things by not having a game plan. The other thing is that we're not controlling other people's impressions. Let's face it, we all like control, right? We all like to, being in control of the conversation. We like to know what's going on. So when you kind of just throw some spaghetti against the wall, when it comes to your clothing, you don't have the control of the messaging. So that's why it's so important for us to really develop our style and to think about it. So The other thing that's super important that people don't realize is that when you get to the goal weight, or you get the client, or whatever the thing that you feel like is holding you back, your clothes just suddenly don't just like appear in your closet. So it's not like, okay, I lost the 10 pounds. I all of a sudden have this wardrobe that I love and supports me, and or, when I lose 10 pounds, I'm gonna, start reaching out to do TED Talks. Or when I lose 10 pounds, I'm gonna start to speak on a panel. So it's this if when situation. You need to do this work before, so you have the clothes readily available and you're excited to wear it. You're not just waiting for the thing to happen and the clothes will just suddenly appear. So that's why all of this is important. The other thing that's super important that a lot of us don't realize is a lot of what has to do with our clothes is mental. And we kind of chatted about this, how it has to do with how we're feeling about our weight. So it's important for us to realize that we all have our own style story. And that's like that internal dialogue, that like critical bad self-talk situation that comes up when you need to go get dressed, you need to show up. Maybe you're standing in a dressing room, when you're standing in front of a mirror. We need to realize that there's this mental thing that goes on when it comes to getting dressed. And here's a few things that usually influence it. It's usually how we view ourselves. So maybe that's weight gain, weight loss, feeling, lands at a client, I feel great. Didn't get that client, I don't feel so great. So that influences our style. The other thing, we also get influenced by other people. So if we see someone, let's say on Instagram or social media, we're like, oh, she has the most beautiful wardrobe. She always looks so great. So then we start comparing ourselves to others. And then the third thing is that things that people have said to us over time. I've heard from so many clients or people that I've just chatted with about different things over the years that people have said to them about their clothes, about their image, that continually stick with them. So for me, when I was 13 years old, a boy I had a crush on made a comment that I shouldn't be wearing shorts then because my thighs weren't fit for them. So, you know what crap that has done to me for my whole entire life? Whenever I look in a mirror, whenever I look at a picture, I look at my thighs. I mean, like, yes, now I can coach myself to be like, okay, let's draw attention over here, or all of that. But we get all of these messages that come up when we need to show up, when we need to get dressed, all of that stuff. So for us to go into getting dressed and act like it doesn't have anything to do with the mental thing, that's just kind of ignoring half of it. So we do need to realize that there's a lot of mental stuff that comes into getting dressed also. So how are we going to come up with a system to do all of this? And the one thing that's super important to realize, it's so much more than like a Pinterest board. So a lot of times when I'll like get on the phone with someone like, oh, you're gonna make a Pinterest board and I'm gonna tell you what's cute and we're gonna talk about pretty outfits. But it's different than that. Yes, you want to show up, you want to look great and all of that, but it has more to do with strategy than it has to do with creating outfits. So the first thing we have to think about is, how do you want to feel? Like, your clothes have that power over you. So how do you want to feel when you show up? How do you want to feel when you get dressed? How do you want to do it? Clothes evoke emotions, and you want to make sure that they're supporting you, not making you feel crappy. So when you're thinking about getting dressed, you really want to think about, how do you want to feel? The second thing is, you want to think about how you want to make others feel, and what your other things. We all want people to think that we're nice, that we're friendly, that we're approachable. But another thing that's super important is we want people to think that we're competent and that we're able to do our job and we're able to excel at our job. So we can do that with our clothing, because as females, it's hard. It's a hard balance of, you want to be nice because you don't want to be called the B word, but you also want to be authoritative because you want to get your job done. So I love to use the example of Robin Wright, because in House of Cards, I don't know if anyone's watched or in that show, it used to be one of my favorite shows, but her wardrobe was pretty awesome in the show. But it really drastically changed throughout the seasons. When the show first started, she worked for a non-for-profit. She was very, very, very approachable, very casual. Her shirt was always unbuttoned. Her hair was wispy. But as the seasons went on and as she became the first lady, she literally, their costume designer would make her physically uncomfortable in her clothes. They were so structured. So our clothes sends messages. And we want to make sure that our messages that they're sending are aligned with the messages that we are coming up with, that we're speaking to clients about, that we're speaking to others about. Because if there isn't an alignment, if there's a disconnect, that creates distrust. So if you are, walking into a room and you want to look powerful and you want people to listen to you, you want to be more of this authoritative. You want to have more structured clothes. You want to wear darker colors. But the casual, more approachable side is someone who's more open and friendly and open to new ideas. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about the messaging your clothing is sending, besides just putting on a bunch of random stuff. And then the other thing that we really need to think about is that clothes are like relationships with people. Like we get to like figure out like what we want to put up with and what we don't want to put up with. And I've heard from so many women that they have a lot of clothes in their closet that are good enough. Like I'm sure like you can go into your closet, and if I told you you needed to let 3 things go, you would start telling me like, well, that's okay, or it's gonna fit me at some time. We make up like a lot of like noise that has to do with us holding on to clothes. And a lot of find that a lot of female attorneys, especially, keep on to sorry, I can't say that. Hold on to clothes for too long because of the just in case situation. In case this situation comes up, they always want to be prepared. So the critical thinker in them has them hold on to clothes for much longer than they need to. So I want you to start to realize and think about what are the things that you are willing to put up with your clothes and in your wardrobe, and what you're not, because it's super, super important. So let's get to a little bit of work right now, because I know when we put pen to paper and make things happen, it actually starts doing the work that we need to do. So I want you to open up your phone. It's probably somewhere near you. Write me an email. Here's my email address right here. So I want you to list what's the one big thing that you're super excited about. We got 6 months left of the year. What's the one big thing that you're working on, that you're excited about, that you can't wait for? Because our clothes get to be part of that. They get to be our support system. And then number 2, what are the 3 things that you're no longer willing to put up with when getting dressed? If I've learned one thing about the pandemic and one thing about learning, working with clients in their clothes, I know that there's a lot of things that women are no longer willing to put up with when it comes to their clothes. I've heard things like, I'm never wearing pants again that has zippers. I am never wearing high heels again. I'm never going to the dry cleaner again. So outline what you're not willing to put up with is super helpful when you're going into your closet and you want to get rid of stuff. It's also really helpful with that strategic shopping situation, because you aren't buying a bunch of random stuff. There's been so many times I've chatted with clients and we start going through stuff and they're like, ugh, that's dry clean only. I hate going to the dry cleaner. Ugh, I have to hand wash it. I hate hand washing it. So actually outlining the things that you're not willing to put up with is super, super powerful. So you could just write 3 words. It could be something about comfort. It could be something about maintenance. It could be something about looking too masculine, wearing things that are unstructured. So, don't make it pretty. Just shoot me an email with the 3 things that you're not willing to put up with.
No underwire bras.
No underwire bras. No things that
Guys.
stretch. I'm not willing to put up with blazers that don't have any sort of stretch or movement in there. Like I talk with my hands a lot. I'm a New Yorker. So I don't know what I was thinking that was like a good idea at one point, that I was like, ugh.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people, Melanie, talking about pockets. Everybody wants pockets. I've got another one. I refuse to wear pointy toe stilettos. My feet have gotten bigger. Like my toes are not, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just not going to wear shoes that hurt anymore. Why do I need to do that? I don't. I did that for years.
Because we thought it was like a power thing, like that you look powerful if you're wearing those shoes. But the flip side is that like you're standing there like in pain, and people, like if they look at your face, you're kind of borderline crying. Like that's not good either.
The other thing, by the way, like the Robin Wright thing made me think about it. Pencil skirts. Pencil skirts suck all day long. When you're working, when you're sitting at a desk, we did that for years. The skirt suit. They look great, but they're not practical. They hurt. At least they bother me. The sheath dress, they look amazing. All these things that we wore. Law firms were very backwards a while back. Pantyhose and all of those things. It wasn't that long that we were all wearing very formal clothes to work. So I know at least I really believe that this has been a very big inflection point for the legal industry, the pandemic, and that we will not go back to a formal culture and a formal work environment. And if those firms that believe that we're going back to normal after the pandemic, those of you who work at law firms, there are a lot of choices where you work, and we need to be more comfortable how we work. I think we're more productive when we're wearing clothes that make us feel comfortable. I'm not comfortable when I'm wearing clothes that restrict me. Personally. So, let's not go back to that kind of world. Maybe some of you like that. So
it's interesting. Some people do. Like some people that I've spoken to, like, I can't wait to do it. It just depends on, again, knowing what makes you feel confident and knowing what makes you feel powerful.
I know. And I love, by the way, the comments here, like, some people, I agree. Some people saying, I love to wear dresses, so you don't have to think about a top and a bottom. Yes, I agree. Shoulder bags that weigh you down. Yes, I have shoulder pain in my right shoulder because I was wearing a purse that was probably 30 pounds for years. Why did we do this? So many of us for the last 16 months have not had to do that anymore. We don't need those things. So this has been a huge inflection point for so many of us. In a lot of great ways, I think.
Yeah, and a lot of the law firms that I work with, it pivots. There's firms that I work with that are extremely formal, and they were tiptoeing into like a casual Friday dress for your day pre-pandemic. But now, like when I speak to the female partners, they're like, I don't have to wear a blazer to work anymore. Like, yes, going to court is different, but like there's definitely has been a switch of how you're showing up. Also, like if you're not, it depends who you're seeing. Like if you're just going into your office to run in for a few hours, you don't need to get as dressed up. But the one thing I will say, Stefanie, is that I found the majority of women that have been wearing pencil skirts are wearing them wrong. And that's why they're uncomfortable.
Wait, explain. Can you explain it?
So you know how like the waist always shifts around?
Yeah.
And that's why we hate them. And because then like it's frumpy and all of that stuff. You want your pencil skirt to hit you at your smallest point. You always want the eye to go at your smallest point, which is your waistline. Most people think that your waistline is by your stomach, your belly button. That's false. Your waistline is, you're going to see me do like some yoga right now. So your waistline is if you go here, it's like normally your skinniest point. If you go over to where you can't go anymore, and right there, this is where that your skirt should be ending. It normally is higher than where it doesn't hit on your hips, it hits on your natural waist. And so if it's darted there, it's more comfortable, it's more flattering, and also it doesn't do that funky shift. Not saying that you need to go and keep wearing pencil skirts, but I would say that 75% of women that I chat with are wearing their pencil skirts wrong. And
I was probably wearing them wrong. They were shifting around. Yes. And I also feel like they were restrictive.
Totally.
And I also get bloated during the day.
It's the same thing with like certain pants. Like it's because I feel like there's so much. I also have a conversation with people all the time, like especially when I have clients that are doing like their photo shoots, their brand, like for their website. And I literally just worked with a client last week and she's like, I'm not wearing black in any of them. I'm like, number one, you are wearing a black blazer in one of them. So you could check the box that you have your headshot with your black blazer. But there's like a missing approachability to when you're showing up in all those dark colors. Like you're kind of like being like, you're putting yourself on this pedestal that, because it's so formal. Think about going to like a black tie wedding. It's so formal there. Like if you're wearing a fun color, you're starting a conversation. Like you are inviting people to engage with you. And that's what we want our clothes to be. It's an invitation to someone to get to know you. Like think about like old school, like networking events. Like you're not going up to the woman in the black wrap dress and being like, wow, that's an awesome wrap dress. Where'd you get it? I've never seen one before. You're going up to the woman that's wearing like the blue floral thing or like the cool color combination. So we want to start using our clothes as a sense of engagement as opposed to being like, I'm just wearing the same thing everyone else is just because I could check the box and fit in.
And I think though, Melanie, for some of us at law firms for so many years, it was indoctrinated in us that like we needed to fit in and wear those dark colors because that was what was accepted. I was actually told when I worked at one very white shoe top 10 law firm that I had too much sunshine and too much color in my wardrobe. And I love what you're wearing right now. And I'm reading the comments. We're getting a lot of comments on blazers. A lot of people are asking, about how to buy a blazer, suit, like, keeping to, is there a way a wardrobe can do both, be power clothes and then have a dressy casual wardrobe, how to make your wardrobe do both. So we're getting a lot of questions about this, and I'm loving what you're wearing right now, which is a completely, I think formal slash, business appropriate jacket, and it stands out. I love that. I never wanted
And I'm wearing a
to.
t-shirt, by the way, and jeans.
Yeah, right. I love it. But by the way, on a Zoom, you can absolutely wear that. It's very easy to pivot wearing that with a pair of black pants or a skirt or whatever you want to do with it, or a dress. What I love about, like, I think, first of all, where's that blazer from? Can you tell us, where do you can you give us some ideas about, maybe where you shop? I mean, finish going through your slides.
So I'm probably going to chat about a lot of that stuff, but I'll tell you where my blazer's from and all of that. So
Okay.
First, the thing is, what makes this really uncomplicated is by developing a signature style. So that's where it comes from. Most people think that you need to look different every single day, and that's like a lot of work. Like, keep reinventing the wheel. The way that we become this memorable brand, and that's what we're all working on. We're all, our own brands. Like, people kind of, you may work for a firm, but you are your own person, because people want to work with you. So the way to do that is through repetition. So if you think about any like iconic woman, whether it's Kate Middleton, Michelle Obama, Jackie O, Marilyn Monroe, like, there are key elements, like Anna Wintour and her necklaces. Like, there are just key elements that you keep thinking about when you think of those women. So it becomes so simple when you have this rinse and repeat signature. And that's the way, if you like want to wear a bright blazer, you can wear your bright blazer with jeans, you can wear your bright blazer as a suit. Like, it just becomes your signature. And the greatest thing is when someone sees that, they constantly remember you. So I have a client, she wears red cowboy boots. When anyone sees anything with red, they shoot her a text, I'm thinking of you. I have another client that wears funky glasses. Whenever anyone sees funky glasses, they automatically think of Amy. Like, it becomes like your signature, and people remember you by it. And it becomes super easy that you just keep doing the same thing.
I love that. By the way, Melanie, mine, when I present or I have a power meeting, I wear a work appropriate jumpsuit. It's a black, navy, red, pink, whatever it is, short sleeve, whatever, sleeveless. There's lots of options out there. And I have a little thing that if you come up to me and meet me, you'll see I wear Darth Vader earrings when I really need to feel powerful. And people have commented, but you don't get to see them unless you come up close. But I never wear suits when I present in person. It's always a jumpsuit. There's a lot of fun jumpsuits out there, and they're perfectly
There's lots
workable.
of things you can do, and that's what it is. Like, you want this to be fun. Like, yes, like, you want to think about, like, it's not like, yes, you got to go, like, you have to think about clothes like it's like going food shopping. You got to do it. Like, let's be real. Like,
right.
But you could hire someone to do it for you, and it could be a lot easier. But like, you want to make it a means to an end. You want to have fun. You want to have purpose for it. That's why sometimes the TJ Maxx doesn't work, because that's when you get like a bunch of stuff and it becomes overwhelming. But so I encourage a lot of my clients to, like, let's do 2 big shops a year and let's have it done so you don't have to keep thinking about it, especially if you don't like shopping. If you like shopping, it's a little bit different, but you don't want to go off the deep end. But the thing that we also want to think about is, like, the fashion industry is an $80 billion a year industry. And the way that it became that way is that people are told that they need to keep buying more stuff and buying more stuff and buying more stuff. But that's not necessarily the case. It's better for you to stick with what looks good on you and stick with what you like and stick with your own personal brands, as opposed to keep buying the thing that's in and that may not look so great on you. So the key to this, and I'm gonna blow your minds right now, is we need to embrace our bodies. So for so long, I used to do this too. So I'm 5 feet tall and all of that. And I would want to wear every single trendy item that came out. And you just, sometimes there's stuff that doesn't work for you. And that's when it becomes hard, is when you're wearing something, maybe it's a shift dress, maybe it's a pencil skirt, maybe it's something with shoulder pads, or maybe it's a jumpsuit, something that you're like, you know what, that just doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to wear it. But it's really about learning what does work for you so you can play up the parts that you do like about yourself. So many times when I chat with women about getting dressed, or their body types, they just list to me every single thing they hate about themselves. We are the most, like, critical group of people ever. I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that. But we need to start thinking about what we do like about ourselves and how we can enhance that. So what we just need to do is really learning to dress in a way that enhances our body as opposed to using it to hide. So it has a lot to do with just balancing our silhouette. So if you are bottom heavy, like for me, I'm a little bottom heavy, where I gain my weight in my butt, in my thighs, all of that stuff, I need to play up here. It's kind of counterintuitive, but if you gain your weight below, or you feel like you're a little bit bigger below, you want to draw more attention up here to balance it so it looks evenly proportioned. Or if you have a bigger chest or your broad shoulders, you then want to put the influence or the volume down below. So you don't want to be wearing a skinny jean because it makes up here look so much bigger. So it's really about proportional dressing and balancing your silhouette. Also, the key is to create a natural waistline. So kind of have things that are cinched at the waist. So you don't want to look masculine, you don't want to look boxy, and you don't want to look frumpy. But what gets to happen is then you only wear the clothes that flatter you and you get to know your shapes. So if you're someone who is a little bit larger on the bottom, an A-line skirt, a wide leg pair of pants, a straight leg pant is something that flatters you. So you get to wear those things and then you everything else gets to go away. So, or if you're bigger on top, you just put more emphasis down below. Again, it's just really learning 4 or 5 things that look good on you, and then everything else gets to go away.
Melanie,
Yeah.
question for you that we've gotten a few times. What if you are heavy in the middle, or, I have some friends and family members that just, their bodies are a little just, straight, not necessarily have a waistline, just straight. What would you say about
So this
what
woman here, well, she's like this big. She also has no curves to her. So you
Yeah.
have to actually create the curves. Well, if you're a little bigger in the midsection, you're probably like, no, honey, I'm not doing that. But it's really about wearing something that has a V-neck. It has some embellishment up here. The thing also that's counterintuitive sometimes is if you have a little bit of a tummy, you want to cover it up and you want to do that like tunicky top. But when I showed you before about where your waistline is, you want to draw the attention here. So if you have something that's a little bit more fitted up top at your narrowest point, not over here where you're trying to hide, it's so much more flattering. So here's the thing, like our body types are like fingerprints. Like everyone's got a different one. We could call you an apple, a pear, any of those things. But if this is something that's hanging you up and something that you feel like you don't do so great and you need some extra help with, that's where hiring an expert or getting some extra insight is super helpful and powerful because you're able to feel better in your clothes. So there are tons of information out there. It's just learning the information that works good for you.
Yeah, and might say like, like to Caroline, like I might say like, I know you, so I know, you, like accentuate, like maybe wear a beautiful necklace. You have great legs, Caroline. So like you might want to wear like a shorter, like
Right.
a skirt above the knee and like accentuate your legs and maybe, wear really beautiful shoes, like that sort of thing. So there's a lot of kinds of things you can do, you can do with that.
Yeah, and it's really about, again, focusing on what you like and kind of so everything else kind of blends in. The third thing also that's kind of like mind blowing to people sometimes is it's better to do more with less. So while it's great to have a rainbow in your closet and have all these options, that also leaves you with a lot of stuff as opposed to outfits. So it's really powerful to be able to stick to only a few colors because first of all, it's colors that look good on you. So you're not having like something in your closet that are like, I don't know how to wear this. Get to become an expert of it. And you don't have to keep overcompensating and overcompensating. So you get to then have a lot more options by only having a few stuff because everything goes together. So you get to learn what colors go with it. So here's a few examples of just great color combinations. So a lot of my clients will keep something like this in their closet or in their dresser, but you get to kind of have so much more versatility in your wardrobe, especially when you're using those separates again, to mix and match. So on LinkedIn, a lot of people like my outfit posts because I show you how to mix and match into how to incorporate different things to kind of dress it up or dress it down. But the way you want to start thinking about buying outfits as opposed to buying pieces. So if you have something in your closet that you really like, but you don't really wear so much, it probably is because it's a one-off thing and it doesn't have things to go with it. So that's a great way to start adding to your wardrobe or start thinking about it, is to complete outfits as opposed to when you're going shopping and you're just buying something that like jumps out at you. So really important to kind of think about it more with strategy.
I love these charts. How do you make those, by the way? Is that like Canva or something?
No, I used to, so years ago there was something called Polyvore that like you would make those outfits, and then Polyvore was sold to like this other website. Literally, they didn't tell anyone. The next day you went on to Polyvore, and I had millions of boards saved, and it was a different website completely. They sold it to someone else without telling anyone that they were doing it. So there's another website that I use, and basically it's just taking stuff that's like available online that like at retail stores and creating outfits with it. So I just love, because it shows you that there's versatility, because we're such linear creatures that normally my clients, like I went to Ann Taylor and I bought the thing that was on the mannequin, and that's the only way that I wear it.
No, I know, we're visual. I mean, I like your visual posts, and I was saying everybody should follow Melanie on Instagram and also on LinkedIn, because these posts are very helpful. That's why we buy the mannequin. That's why we read magazines. We need to see how the outfits go together. The chart helps. The visuals do really help. You get overwhelmed when you go into a store and even shopping online. It's just overwhelming, and how to put things together. Like, that's why we need help like this. And by the way, some people get like, I get turned off when like people used to invite me to like, like a women's initiatives event would be like fashion, shopping, whatever. This is not that. This is strategic wardrobe so that we can be more efficient, successful, put our best foot forward, and figure out what to do with all the stuff we already have and how to adjust to going back to, whatever. If you guys like this program, we'll do another one with Melanie. I want Melanie to come back. Tell me in the chat, message me, whatever it is. But there are no programs like this out there for people like us. And I think it's helpful. We can talk all we want about being successful in entrepreneurship and, all this other stuff, but I think this is a good kind of program for people to also just, talk about things that we don't, we probably need help with, but we don't get help with, and we don't know where to start. So this is what this is for. So.
Yeah. And I also feel that, so since a lot of my clients are female attorneys, I also hear where a lot of this began, and it's been going on for a really long time. Like the messages that are being taught in law school, they're telling you all of these rules, but they're not giving you guidelines of how to live within the rules. So it's there's a lot of this information that's kind of out there. There's a lot of shoulds going on, but there's no real solutions. And especially when you like need to show up and like have an impact, or a lot of people will hire me when they want to make partner because they need to, step into that role. So it's much more powerful than clothes. And that's like, it's more than just
100%.
stuff.
It's image. There are a lot of people like first year associates, just people starting off working at law firms who don't know how to dress. And, when I first started in law firms, by the way, Melanie, I was told like, you can't wear what you're wearing, go to Ann Taylor Loft and just buy new clothes. And that was not really like good advice, but
no, not nice. Like that, there's no solution. Like Ann Taylor's the solution. Like
no, it wasn't. And how many of you, by the way, please put this in the comments. At a big law firm at which I worked years ago, we had a column. I think, Caroline, you may have been at this firm. We had like, it was like people who wore like the same outfit. And it was a law firm, and it was from Ann Taylor Law. There were 3 or 4 people spotted in the cafeteria wearing the same outfit because we all shopped at Ann Taylor or Ann Taylor Loft or Banana Republic. It was called Who Wore It Best. Like, it was just a joke. We all wore the same exact outfit, and it was a joke because that was fast fashion, Melanie, and that's just what was there. And we didn't know, like, we just didn't know. We didn't know how to develop our own personal style, and it wasn't available to us,
And also you're kind of told not to. Like, here's the thing, like you like I'm speaking at Mrs. JD tomorrow about like kind of how to start thinking about this, because you're told to not be too loud, not draw attention to yourself, to blend in. But like if it's something that you enjoy or like you like color, it's like, how do you do it that works for you and that feels good on you? So it's important to just, again, think about this with strategy because it doesn't have to be overwhelming. So, and then the last thing is that when you kind of have all the stuff, it's important to learn what to do with it because there's a lot of wonderful rules out there. And there's a reason why you try something on and like you literally see a woman wearing it on the street and you're like, wow, that looks really great. And then you go and try it on at home and you're like, not so great on me. So there's a lot of awesome rules that have to do with how to create polished outfits. One of the biggest ones that I find that women do wrong is the rule of thirds, is that a lot of times we just put on the top, and our go-to is to just, put a skirt and a top together, as opposed to thinking about how to make it aesthetically pleasing. And the best way to make it aesthetically pleasing is to create the rule of thirds. So a lot of times we break ourselves in half, and it's not flattering. It looks kind of frumpy. If we think about like the Eiffel Tower, it's actually 3 sections as opposed to 2 sections because it's so much more aesthetically pleasing. So a lot of times it has to do with either tucking your shirt in, whether it's a pair of pants or a skirt, and just instead of breaking yourself in half, breaking yourself into 3 parts. So here with a skirt and a dress, it normally has to do with, again, that pencil skirt needing to be higher than you would think, and then tucking your shirt in, putting a belt on, kind of thinking more about balance and proportion as opposed to just throwing a bunch of stuff on. So a lot of times when you are putting stuff on and it's a little frumpy, you probably just need to do a little bit of tuck, a little bit of a cinch, a belt kind of comes into play a little bit. So there's lots of great things that you could kind of keep in your arsenal to make the most of what you already have. The second one is also a great one to create outfits, is to use the color pulling method. So if you think about this will be like a big aha moment, that someone with a degree in fine arts made any sort of print, any sort of pattern, so you could actually use prints that you have in your closet as inspiration and create outfits using them. So our go-to way of creating an outfit is like, oh, print, wear it with black. Oh, color, wear it with black, wear it with navy, wear it with gray. But instead of doing that, you could actually go and find things in your closet that have a few different colors in there and copy them, because it is a great way of having colors that are already complementary go together. Or you can use them as an inspiration. So it's pretty simple. Here, she just basically used her shoes to pull together an outfit. So she literally put together 3 colors that are in her shoes and made an outfit. Same thing with here. So go in your closet, find some prints, find some things, and start using them as inspiration, as opposed to being like, that's a print, that's overwhelming, I'm going to wear it with black. So that's just a great way to, create some more outfits, have fun in your wardrobe. If you ladies have any questions, and here's the key. This is like why I love what I do. If anyone does any work with personal development, we all talk about journaling, mindset, visioning, all of that stuff. And it really is true that peak performers develop powerful mental images of the behavior that will lead to their desired results. They see in their mind's eye the result they want and the actions leading towards it. So it has to do all with visioning, seeing yourself already in the position that you want, seeing yourself landing the client. What I love about what I do is clothes are actually the physical form of that. So we've all heard dress for the job you want, not the job that you have, but there's so much truth in that. If you start dressing as this woman that's having a greater impact, if you're starting dressing as this woman that, already is a partner, if you start dressing as someone who like has their dream clients gravitating towards them, it just is like you're stepping into that person before you're already there. And it's super, super powerful. So you want to use clothes to be part of your support system, as opposed to like, I hate my clothes and not wearing it, I'm not going to show up. So start thinking about your clothes this way to get excited and to amp you up, as opposed to being the reason that you're not showing up.
I feel so motivated now. Like, I love it.
Tony Robbins will be here in 5 minutes.
I love it. Okay, so let's see what questions we have. And then guys, if you have other questions, let me know. Wow, somebody said they attended a similar program at their firm 14 years ago and it was good, but it was very long ago. Yeah, these programs shouldn't be that long ago, and we should be doing more of these things, which is exactly why I wanted to do this. So okay, so I'm just going back here. Oh, are sheath dresses with a matching jacket still a good idea?
It depends where you're working and if it's easy for you. If it's something that's easy to like, it's a great suit. And if you need to wear a suit like that, that's awesome. But if it's something that feels a little bit formal for you or you feel like it doesn't feel like you, I don't feel like you need to feel restricted or limited to wearing that.
Okay. Can you tell us about how to purchase a blazer? And you said you would tell us about your blazer. Where do you shop? Give us some ideas on like, that
So
sort
my blazers is Lejean's. I actually have it in blue and white as well. It was this one here is the blue and white version. I could show you.
Okay.
I here it's like all the way at the front.
And you said, Melanie, something about shopping a couple times a year and being
yeah.
strategic.
So I think it's much more easier to shop with strategy. So because you want to create outfits, not have a bunch of random stuff. So if you're like, it sounds expensive. You're like, okay, I have to go do this big overhaul, and it doesn't have to be expensive. If you put a budget to something, then you get to be like, okay, this is worth me spending. This is worth me not spending. But like, if you're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to need 2 new suits this year, or I need 2 blazers, 2 work dresses. It's much more thoughtful than you going into a store and just buying something that jumps out at you. So that's much more powerful to, have what you need so it's in your closet. So many of my clients before we worked together were the type, like, I had to speak at a panel literally the day before. I was in Bloomingdale's, like finding my thing, and a week later I didn't even really like it, like when I went to go put it on again. So my blazer is from Lejean's. I think it was from Saks. And I also have it in, I could put the notes for you.
Yeah, I think they want. Yeah,
from-
and there are plenty of options like that. Do you have tips on how to buy a blazer, Melanie?
You want to make sure that it's fitted. Boxy blazers that are made for men, not for us. So you want to make sure that it has this waist here. And even though, so like it has like the lines that go in, it's also really important to where you need it to hit. That's really dependent on your body type and on your torso length. That's one of those things we don't really put into play when we're thinking of things, is knowing the rise. We never want something to end at our widest point. So if you are like bigger on your hips, you don't want your blazer to end at that exact point. You either want it to be below or above. And you want to make sure that you are trying a blazer on with multiple shirts, because a lot of times we tend to try a blazer on with just like a shell, and then you go and put a long sleeve shirt on in the winter and you're like, this is super painful and I hate it. So it's also really helpful, like if you buy one with color, there's a bunch of other colors that go with it. So especially if there's a few colors in it, to pull colors out of it. Like there's like anything that is tweed normally has like 4 or 5 colors. Make sure that you get like a lot with what you're doing. Don't just keep wearing it with white or wearing it with black.
Yeah, I agree. And also a lot of people think like if you have a little weight on you, you shouldn't get fitted clothes. And Melanie, I would say that that's not true at all, right?
Right. It's actually the opposite. That when you start wearing things that are boxy, you actually look about 10 pounds larger. Right. The majority of the women that I work with, like one of my clients sent me a picture of her last week, and I was like, did you lose a bunch of weight? She's like, no, I'm just listening to what you told me to do.
Yeah, so don't be afraid of like wearing fitted clothes. Like I've said the same thing to friends of mine, and like I gained like a good, I don't know, 15 pounds, like, and that now I'm sort of like 10 pounds over where I was before the pandemic, but I am learning to dress for the size. I'm also not obsessing about the size. I'm learning to be okay with that. I'm learning to just buy clothes that fit me. So I think we just, again, back to the beginning, just stop with like, the mental stuff. Like it's more about how do we look and feel in our clothes, and not about the size that we are, and don't obsess about that, right? We're just going to be comfortable and confident in how we feel. Question about how do you build a wardrobe that is simultaneously professional, comfortable, and approachable?
It comes with being really, really strategic, and also being very specific and not just buying stuff that's mediocre. So this, having a wardrobe that you love, is an evolution. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Like, that's why it's like a juice cleanse. Like, first of all, it doesn't stick. If you went to go Bloomingdale's and you're like, oh, $5,000, I'm going to have everything I want, need, and desire. No, you may lose weight. You may gain weight. You may all of a sudden like meet an amazing women's group that likes to do yoga on Saturdays that you want to hang out with. And all of a sudden you need yoga clothes. Like, this is ebb and a flow. So stop thinking that it's like a solution. So I would just be super specific. The number one thing is buying clothes that flatter you, because when you buy clothes that flatter you, don't have to stop overcompensating. So there's a lot of stuff talk about skinny jeans and side parts and all of that stuff, but skinny jeans didn't look good on most people because it emphasized your hips and your thighs. So what ends up happening is you would wear skinny jeans and then you would wear a top that would hide something that you didn't like. But if you were to just wear pants that flattered you, you basically could wear any top. It's so freeing to be like, oh, this fits me and I could wear anything with it, than having to go in your closet to cover the part of your clothing that you're not liking. So number one, it has to do with having clothes that flatter you and fit you and learning about how to do that. Number two, being specific with colors. Because like you saw in all of those palettes, it's all the same 4 or 5 colors. So then you can take the blazer and you could throw it on with gray pants, but you could also take the blazer and put it with jeans. So if you have 3 or 4 things that could make 10 outfits, you get so much more and it's more purposeful. You're also willing to spend more money on things because you're going to wear it more, as opposed to that one random thing that may or may not work with the other stuff in your closet. So it really has to do with developing a strategy.
Yeah, I love that. And to that point, someone else asked, Mimi asked, best advice to purge your closet, because I think a lot of people feel like, okay, they want to do this, and then they feel like, well, what do I do with all the other stuff in my closet that may not be working for me? Any thoughts on what
Sure.
to do? Obviously, hiring someone like Melanie is probably a good idea if you are serious about doing this. But for some of us who feel overwhelmed with what's staring at us in those 20 minutes per day that we're wasting in our closets, what do we do?
So anything that doesn't fit you right now needs to go. So it may not need to leave forever. Like, let's say if it's like you gain 10 pounds and it may fit you in 3 months. But if it doesn't fit you right now, it needs to leave your closet. It should not be in your visual vision because it's clouding you and it's making you feel bad as you're getting ready. So that's number one. Anything that doesn't fit you, anything that doesn't feel good on you, that you don't like, that you haven't worn in 3 or 4 years, needs to go. Again, attorneys like to be prepared, so they create these funky situations. Like, if I got invited to this farm wedding in Alabama, this would be the perfect thing to wear.
Oh, I do that.
No, it wouldn't.
I do that.
If you got invited to the farm wedding, let's be real, you probably go out and buy a new outfit. You're not wearing your dress that you wore post prom.
Yeah. And also throw things away from 15 years ago, from college. It's time. Get rid of those things, those jeans, all that stuff.
Anything that doesn't make you feel good, gotta go. And then if anything is mediocre, like that you feel that you wear because it completes an outfit but you don't love, that's when it's good to create a shopping list. Like, start making a list of, these are things that I need. If you're also finding that you're not wearing something but you like it, it could be because you don't have the thing to support it. So that's another thing that you want to start making a list of. When I go shopping, I'm not buying a random thing. I'm going to look for X, Y, and Z. So the first thing really is to just get rid of all the stuff that doesn't work for you. And you could break down into bite-sized portions. In my course, we do like accountability posts. And so I'll do, okay, this week we're doing shirts. This week next week we're doing pants. So don't feel like, set yourself up for success. Give yourself 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Say, I'm going to get rid of 10 things. Donate it. It feels better if you're donating it somewhere than you're just throwing it away. Swap with a friend, do that stuff. But if you start getting rid of the stuff, the other thing also that's super helpful is if you think about that you're going to go on a vacation, think about it, like you pack like your favorite stuff when you're going away. Like
Mhm.
start playing that game. Like these are my favorite things, and start kind of moving that out of your closet, and then you see like what's left over. It may be better to start letting go of some of the things that kind of don't make the cut. That's another good way to find things that work and don't work.
Yeah, and also, guys, just because you've spent a lot of money on something, doesn't mean you should keep it. You can sell it,
Poshmark.
Poshmark, eBay, those sorts of things. Like sometimes I'll keep things that I spent money on, but don't necessarily fit me or look good on me anymore because I feel guilty about it. But you can resell things as well. So there's other options like that. So and yeah, so I see like someone says you can give things to Facebook free or buy nothing groups, or you can give things to college students. Yes, of course, gives or a family member. There's obviously different ways rather than just please don't just throw things out.
Yeah.
Lots of
There's
people.
like also an energy about when you're donating
Yeah.
it, and it feels better like than throwing it away. It just feels like you're doing something good as opposed to there's a reason behind it.
Absolutely. So I want to thank Melanie for being here. I'd love, Melanie, to have you come back maybe in the fall and talk to us about fall and winter. I think there's a lot of other things we can learn from you. Please follow Melanie, like I said, on social. I'll send in the follow-up email, her links to social. Um, and Melanie, anything else you want to say to us? Any other final words of advice?
No, I think it's just momentum. Like kind of like I find so much is like once you create 2 or 3 outfits that you like and that you're getting compliments and you feel good, like it'll kind of be like, oh, let me go in my closet and find something else. Let me go and find something else. So just there's momentum that has to do with it, and start getting rid of like it's like a bad relationship. Like
Yeah.
the good enough stuff, like you have enough clothes, like we're never going naked. Like start slowly getting rid of the things that you're making excuses for, that you're holding around to, because it's just taking up mental energy.
I know it's so hard sometimes to just get rid of those things for whatever reason it is. So it's just, parting with those clothes. So thank you so much, Melanie. And thank you to everyone who joined. We have a couple other webinars coming up and next week for women entrepreneurs. And then the following week, we have, I think the following week or the week after, are women's CMOs. So I hope you'll join. And yeah, thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you.